Ready? Hi, my name is Shelley C., and I'm your worship associate for this service of the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Charlotte County. I'm a newbie, so your patience is much appreciated as I stumble through this whole thing. All right, we begin our service each week by singing an invitation to gather together, even as we are scattered in many and different places, and whether our sacred space be virtual or live. So please join me in body or spirit as we sing hymn number 311 in the gray hymnal, Let It Be a Dance. This service is being broadcast live on YouTube and will be available as a recording on the UUFCC YouTube channel after the service. So before we start, I'd like to remind you of a couple of simple procedures that will help our service and broadcast run smoothly. So first, put your phones on meditation mode. And for those of you virtually, you may wish to have a chalice or a candle available for our chalice lighting ritual. I wish to express my gratitude for those who make this service possible, those supporting technology this morning, Corey and Tom, to the building and grounds team, the folks who set up and break down the coffee service and snacks, the sanctuary decorating team, isn't this just absolutely beautiful? And all others who make this physical space a joy to behold. To our membership committee and their team of greeters, to Ryan S., our pianist, Janet, our choir director, and the choir, to Mary Jane and Sandy for their behind-the-scenes assistance. All right, so I get to say welcome. Come, wherever you are welcome here. No matter your age, your size, the color of your eyes, your hair, your skin, you are welcome here. No matter how you came here, if you came alone or with others, you are welcome here. No matter whom you love or how you speak or whatever your abilities, you are welcome here. Whether you come in with laughter in your heart or tears in your eyes, you are welcome here. If you come here with an open mind, a loving heart, and willing hands, then you are indeed welcome here. If you are new here, I'm jumping right in. If you're new here or returning from a long time away, including any returning snowbirds, if you're comfortable, please stand in body or spirit, or wave and state your first name and where you're from so that we can welcome you. Is there anybody here that's new or coming back from a long trip away? Ah. Hi.
Oh, yay!
Welcome. If you're new at home and would like to learn more about our fellowship, you can email Mary Jane at office@uufcc.org or visit our website at uufcc.org. Wherever you are, we're glad you have chosen to spend your time with us this morning. Today, Ryan Smith will enlighten us on Buddhism as we continue our theme this month, Heritage. Unitarian Universalists believe in the freedom of religious expression and embrace all theologies. Right, so we have a long tradition of lighting the chalice. It's kind of our sacred space, right? So in our chalice lighting, we'll open the sacred space by turning our attention to the chalice through the words by Cynthia Landrum. For the wonder and inspiration we seek from sun and stars, and all the lights of the heavens, we light this chalice. So while Irene comes up and lights the chalice here in the sanctuary, please join me in reciting our affirmation. For those at home, please light your chalice or candles as well. Okay, please repeat the words. Please repeat the words in the order of service as we recognize the chalice as our symbol. Love is the spirit of this fellowship, and service is its law. This is our aspiration, to dwell together in peace, to seek truth and love, and to help one another. That was absolutely beautiful. So our opening words. So there's a Reverend Mary Magnon Gear, which I'm hoping I pronounced that correctly. She serves as an Olympia Unitarian Universalist congregation and the shores of the Salish Sea and shadow of Mount Tahoma in Washington State. And for those of you who understand that there are Native Americans in the Northwest America, I am part of the Salish community. Not literally, because they won't let me, but you know. All right, so stay with me. I would like for you to participate in this, and I think you'll get a lot more from it. And maybe you want to keep your eyes closed. Maybe you want to keep them open. All right. So I invite you to imagine holding a ball of light. Hold your ball like this. It might be a glass ball reflecting the light of the sun, not too hot, just warm and comforting to your touch. It might be a beach ball, light and airy and colorful, or any other ball that you want to imagine. As your body is comfortable, as you breathe in, raise that ball to the sky, toward the sun. Imagine your ball absorbing the warmth and light of the sun, warm, cozy, comforting. As you breathe out, lower your ball to your belly, soaking in the warmth and light. Breathe. Once more, as you breathe in, raise your ball to the sky, toward the moon and stars, the cool and quiet night sky, stars glowing in the vastness of space. Imagine your ball absorbing the coolness and quiet of night. Once more, as you breathe out, lower your ball to your belly, soaking in the cool and quiet of the night. One last time, as you breathe in, raise your ball to the sky, toward the planets and solar systems and galaxies out in the vast and beautiful universe. Imagine your ball connected to that vastness, absorbing the mystery and beauty of space. As you lower your ball to your belly, soak in the mystery and beauty of the universe. Breathe. In gratitude for this day, for this earth, for this community, for this life, we pray. Blessed be. Amen. Hi, so, sorry. Now I just took a dip on that one. So our book of life, we were so meditative, and then we go down to life. All right, in our community, we make time each week to share pieces of our lives with one another. We do this because each person in this community has value. Each person's experience matters. We share our sorrows with one another today, knowing that sorrow comes into each person's life, knowing that together we offer comfort. We also share our joys with one another, knowing too that joy comes into our lives, knowing that together our voices can rise in a chorus of celebration. We have a long tradition at UUFC of sharing our joys, sorrows, and life milestones by entering them into the Book of Life. These messages can be written in the red book at the back of the sanctuary. Would you please bring up the Book of Life, Corey? Thank you. Thank you so much. So this has changed since I went away for 10 days. And so bear with me. This is kind of a new process for this, which I think will be great. Those at home are welcome to email your entries into the Book of Life at bookoflife@uufcc.org. Your messages should be sent no later than Saturday prior to the service. All entries will be read by the worship associate on Sunday morning, and after that, all those emailed messages will be entered into the actual red book. In the spirit of respectful witness, we invite you to share a brief glimpse into the joys and sorrows of your life. Each stone is a milestone, a story embraced by the great pool of life. Each falls in reverence, stone piling upon stone, and creating an altar of sorrows and joys. The compassion of this congregation falls as softly as stones through the water, surrounding our loved ones and friends in its quiet embrace. So I'm going to first read the entries from the Book of Life, and then I will invite you to come and drop a stone into the water. If you come forward and drop the stone, please let us your name, what major changes are shaping you on your path. right, and after we've spoken our truths, we'll have a moment of silence, followed by hymn number 83, Winds Be Still. So we'll just switch over here. Can you guys hear me? Okay. So, need to be October 22nd, standing back. Can you still hear me without the feedback? All right. Sarasota Pride was an awesome and heartwarming event. Tons of vendors and businesses, and multitude of happy people, music, and food and peace. Community supported and safe. And that is from Jackie and Janet? Lori, that's your signature?
Wow.
Jackie, okay, all right. And this is from Laura L. Thank you to the many volunteers that have helped improve the fellowship's curb appeal on the Forest Nelson frontage. Mulch was put down Thursday. This would not have happened without the direction and tenacity of Laura L. You didn't write it, but somebody else did. So thank you so much. As some are aware, I have started a new job in the IT field. I have been doing it for about a month now. You know who we're talking about, right? Corey. Right. I've been doing it for about a month now. Well, I'm pleased to announce that I have put in an offer for a fixer-upper mobile home up in Osprey. I'm waiting to hear back for the final word, but this is the start of something new. Any positive encouragement from me is going forward and will be greatly appreciated as I tackle this new life journey. Congratulations, Corey. Okay, so if you would like to come up and say something, I'm going to drop a stone in there for that. If you'd like to come in and drop a stone and voice your sorrow or concern or joy or whatever it is, please step up now. And I'm going to turn this way so I get away from you.
I think it's the speaker causing it.
Did it?
I think it's the speaker causing the feedback. I put in a stone, first of all, a stone of joy. I have to second that about how nice the front yard looks coming onto Forest Nelson, and now some of us are gonna help pick up the torch and start making the front by our entry doors much the same, because that really looks amazing out there today. And I also put a stone of concern, and I'm not going to name who, but some family members that have been married for a long time are having some difficulty right now. And I think it kind of came as a shock to a lot of us. And I just hope that they both can figure out where to go from here and what to do. I hope that it's peace for both of them.
I am overflowing with joy. I just had an absolutely surreal week outside of Asheville, North Carolina, with my son, who's on 12 acres in the woods. I had two beautiful people drive me there. One is there, Michael. I saw 3 grandsons, 3 grand golden retrievers, my beautiful granddaughter, Ava, who is a student at USC in Columbia, who we were able to stop and visit yesterday. It happened to be Gay Pride weekend there, so we were able to have a touch of that. I am absolutely overflowing with joy for this beautiful world, for all of you. I love this place so much, because anytime you come home here to this sanctuary, this is beautiful people. I see only beauty here. I am flying high, and I was in a drug culture, but I don't imbibe at all, but I don't need to. I mean, I just absorb it all from everybody. Thank you so much.
Okay, I'm not gonna cry. I got drywall in my house. I know. So, well, on the walls, they haven't started the ceiling yet, but that created an opportunity for a visit from my daughter. So my daughter is here from St. Augustine, not here. She'll be joining us for lunch, but this might have been a little too much for her. But we had to wait because she's a puppy, and labs like to eat walls and studs and stuff. So now that I have walls and it's Hoover proof, I got to meet my grand puppy for the first time. So she's here for the weekend. So I also am floating.
All right, so I want to make sure that everybody understands that my plant partner, John, and make sure I get at this, Linda and Bill and Patrick and Don, they're the ones that were lifting the very heavy mulch bags and did a lot of work. So make sure you pat them on the back when you see them today. So, thank you.
Don't waste energy. All right, may we hold these and our unspoken joys and sorrows in our hearts. May we also hold one another in love and tenderness, so that this fellowship may be a source of strength and comfort, courage and hope in the days of the week ahead. Let us now take a moment of silence. Now please join us in body or spirit as we sing hymn number 83. That's the great hymnal, Winds Be Still. I'm back. All right, so first we'll have a poem read by Ryan Richardson, and then Ryan Smith will join for his message to us. So, Ryan? It's R squared.
So our poem is from Thich Nhat Hanh, and he wrote this after getting many letters from refugees fleeing Vietnam by sea. And many of those refugees died, and many encountered Thai pirates at the time. And the poem is called Please Call Me by My True Names. Don't say that I will depart tomorrow. Even today, I am still arriving. Look deeply. Every second, I am arriving. To be a bud on a spring branch. To be a tiny bird with still fragile wings. Learning to sing in my new nest. To be a caterpillar in the heart of a flower. To be a jewel hiding itself in a stone. I still arrive in order to laugh and to cry, to fear and to hope. The rhythm of my heart is the birth and death of all that is alive. I am the mayfly metamorphosing on the surface of the river. I am the bird that swoops down to swallow the mayfly. I am the frog swimming happily in the clear water of a pond. And I am the grass snake that silently feeds itself on the frog. I am the child in Uganda, all skin and bones, my legs as thin as bamboo sticks. And I am the arms merchant selling the deadly weapons to Uganda. I am the 12-year-old girl, refugee on a small boat, who throws herself into the ocean after being raped by a sea pirate. And I am the pirate, my heart not yet capable of seeing and loving. I am a member of the Politburo, with plenty of power in my hands, and I am the man who has to pay his debt of blood to my people dying slowly in a forced labor camp. My joy is like spring, so warm it makes flowers bloom over all the earth. My pain is like a river of tears, so vast that it fills the 4 oceans. So please call me by my true names, so I can hear all my cries and my laughter at once, so that I can see that my joy and pain are one. Please call me by my true names, so I can wake up, and so the door of my heart can be left open, the door of compassion.
Pretty intense. So my talk is called We're in This Together, and I'm going to try to talk about Buddhism. I'm a teacher, so I'm used to talking to people, but as soon as you put a microphone in front of me, it changes everything. So I won't talk much about the basics, the life of Siddhartha Gautama, the Four Noble Truths, or the Eightfold Path. This is a well-read audience, and these have been referenced before. Just snippets. Siddhartha was a prince in India that left the easy life behind to be a spiritual seeker. He tried every spiritual path available to no effect. And then one night, he sat under a fig tree, thought about a blissful time in his childhood, and looked up at the night sky and realized his true nature. That's a really short version. Then he went on to try to explain it to everyone. Writing this talk, I figured out how difficult that can be. This is a task that is usually entrusted to people on a much higher pay grade on the spiritual pay. Later on, When someone encountered him, they asked who he was, and he answered, "I am the one who woke up." And that's what Buddha means. Four Noble Truths, basically. There is dukkha, which is translated as suffering or not being at ease. And it's intrinsic to this existence. And it comes from having desire. It comes from clinging. It comes from aversion. But there is a way to transcend it. Part of that is the Eightfold Path. The symbol of Buddhism has the 8 spokes, which the wheel of the Dharma and the spokes represent the Eightfold Path. And there's a lot of what I would call misunderstanding about the Eightfold Path. It's not like the 10 Commandments. It's basically like a recipe for transcending suffering. Things like right speech, right livelihood, meditation. But like any recipe, you may find that you don't like parsley, so you use basil. Everyone is different. There are billions of people on this planet, and there are billions of different ways to approach this. If you hate meditation, I encounter a lot. Some instruction helps. People think meditation is hard because they haven't had good instruction. But if you hate meditation, try crochet. Just, if something doesn't work, just try the next thing. It's not the 10 Commandments. These things are really interesting to me, and I could talk all day and all night and then all through the week about this, but let's not. If you had never heard of Christianity, and I stood up here and talked about the 10 Commandments, would you understand Christianity? Yeah, not really. If I told you the 5 pillars of Islam, would you understand Islam? Nah, not really. What if I told you the 7 or 8 UU principles? Would you understand UUism? Kind of, but not really. I mean, that's a whole nother talk. Don't get me started on that. So the title of this section of my talk is titled, Buddhism Can't Be Explained. So that's it. Let's go home now. Here's the problem. Anyone that offers to explain Buddhism probably can't. Take nothing I say on faith. Hopefully I say something that sparks an interest or awakens something in you. But I think there's probably about a third of you that believe you're thinking I'm crazy. That's fine. I have no illusions of being an expert. If you came here thinking you completely understand the workings of the universe and leave confused, I feel I will have done a good job. From the Taoist sage Lao Tzu, he who knows does not speak. He who speaks does not know. Here I am speaking, so take what you will. My elevator speech that I'm kind of playing with for both Buddhism and UUism is pretty simple. Being comfortable with not having the answers. So Buddhism isn't for everyone. In my Facebook post, I said, life is like a roller coaster. And I think people can identify with that. If you are one of those lovely people that throws their arms up in the air and screams as they go over the hill, you may not need this so much. You're doing fine. If you're anxious, just plain tired of roller coasters, feeling a little woozy, Buddhism might have something for you. It may show you the way back to either having some fun or stepping off the endless cycle of roller coastering. So obviously roller coasters can get tiresome over, say, eternity. But what did you really want to do with your eternity? Some people have the vision of strumming harps in heaven. After 100 years, 200 years, 300 years, you would want to go on that roller coaster. It would get boring. Circle the throne of God, singing hallelujah, hallelujah. Again, Do that for another 200 years, and then you would want to go on the roller coaster. Imagine if you ran the show and you knew what was going to happen all the time. You could have all the yachts you wanted, all the gourmet food, as many lovers, the best cars, the best house. But there was no risk and every outcome was known ahead of time. It would become boring. I think The Twilight Zone did an episode to that effect. Only by not knowing how things will turn out does existence become interesting. And in that, being alive as a human is just spectacular. It's so much more dynamic, challenging, interesting than sitting in some sort of completely safe heaven, eon after eon after eon. So here we are. You can take life very seriously if you like. But here's how, for today, just try to look at it through my crazy lens today. And then when you walk out the door, you can go back to sanity. But here's what Alan Watts said. Man suffers only because he takes seriously what the gods made for fun. Let's say that again. Man suffers only because he takes seriously what the gods made for fun. And he also says, listen, kids, things aren't what they seem. Don't be fooled. There's a huge deception going on. You're involved with it, but I thought you should know it and just enjoy it. I kind of stumbled over that. So we have limited time, and this deserves weeks or a lifetime. I'm going to focus on several topics. What Thich Nhat Hanh called inner being, what others would call interconnectedness, what UUs call, the interdependent web, and the nature of self and the nature of other. And a note about God. In Buddhism, the question of whether there is a God or gods or no God at all isn't an important one. So no matter if you're atheist, theist, polytheist, pantheist, agnostic, I'm offering you a different lens of looking at the universe. Buddhism typically looks at the universe as arising without having been created or built by an outside force. But for this talk, beliefs about God or atheism makes no difference. So the basics of inner being. In Buddhism, the wave is not a separate entity from the ocean. The wave neither is born nor does it die, because the wave is just a continuity of pattern. It's like the stripes on a barber pole. You see the stripes and they look like they're moving, but the stripes don't shoot out the top of the barber pole because it's just an illusion. Master Dogen, the founder of Soto Zen, said the spring does not become the summer. First there is spring, then there is summer. The spark does not wait in the flint to be struck. The ash does not sit and wait in the log for the fire. So that's kind of a really big concept I'm throwing at you. It's the concept called suchness. So what is the UU Fellowship of Charlotte County? Is it the people? The people that founded it have gone. People come and go all the time. Every week, different people. So it's not the people, because the people that started it aren't the people that are here now. Is it the building? No, it predates the building. Something will happen to this building at some point. We'll have to build a new building, or something will change with the building. And you can go on and on. So what is UU Fellowship of Charlotte County? It's a pattern. It's simply a pattern. The people come and go, the buildings can come and go, everything comes and goes, but there's a pattern that stays the same. So if the ocean wave gets to be really big and impressive and thinks, what a big wave am I? And it hits the shore, it thinks it's dying. but it's the death only of the pattern. The ocean didn't die. So the Buddhists would say we are one suchness. Your true nature is the ocean, not the wave pattern. In that, there's no birth and no death. In that way, we are aspects of the entirety of existence. So, in words of a smarter person than me, Alan Watts, you can feel yourself not as a stranger in the world, not as something here on probation, not as something that has arrived here as a fluke, but you can begin to feel your existence as absolutely fundamental. What you are basically deep, deep down, far, far down, is simply the fabric, the structure of existence itself. Am I getting too deep? Let's get deeper then. What is self? If there is self, it implies that there is other. So what is self and what is other? The Buddhist teaching is called enatmen. Roughly translated, it means no self. When you look at it deeply, you may find that there is no justification for believing that there is a lasting and separate self. We talked about this church. Every cell in your body gets replaced every few years. The body, the cells, the substance of your body when you were in 5th grade is not the same cells, body, substance that is you now. So that's your body. Your conscious, well, that's what goes on and on. That stays the same. But when you fall asleep, your conscious awareness fades into darkness. Every night, it's like you die. If you're your consciousness, you die every night. And this goes on and on. If you chop off your finger, is the rest of you, or is the finger you? Buddhists like to think about stuff like this. So who are you? People respond with their name, but that's just their name. They respond with their job. What do you do? But that's just your job. Imagine if you were really just your job. That would be terrible. Then they respond with their relationship. But that's just a relation. Their hobbies, their stuff, on and on and on. But never is there anything to be found to justify there being a lasting and separate self in this line of thinking. You're welcome to argue with me later on. So many Westerners think they are just a bag of skin running from maternity ward to the undertaker. And the Buddhists some of us like to think about, is the skin a barrier between oneself and everything else, or a connection to it, or neither? So let's try the most basic illustration of this I could find. So, a fist. Everyone see a fist? Okay, where'd the fist go? Okay, here's a fist. Magic, it's gone. Because the fist, sure, it's a way of saying things. It's a noun in our language. But it's not a separate phenomenon. It's a configuration of the hand, which is just an aspect of the body. The fist could never exist of itself if there was no hand. But neither can anything else. So Mahayana Buddhism teaches, I don't know quite who to attribute this to, suffering exists, but no one who suffers. Deeds exist, but no doer to be found. A path there is, but no one who follows it. Nirvana is, but no one who attains it. So then we get into how should we treat each other. When you go to the beach and watch the waves meet the sand, it's an infinite and complex pattern, but there's never an aesthetic mistake. When you look up the night sky at the infinite vastness of stars, nothing seems out of place. Have you ever seen a misshapen cloud? I haven't. When you go to the forest, you see trees of all shapes and sizes. Some are heftier than others. Some have different colors of bark. Some have thinning leaves at the top. Some are more vigorous, and others are spindly. All together as one vast organism, it's just breathtaking. Yet for some reason, when we look at people, we have all these judgments. Heavy, skinny, bald, smart, dumb. There are different races, there are different abilities, on and on and on. Why does any of that matter? Well, it doesn't if it's always been just us. Why are boxes and borders so important? So this leads to a view of compassion as a sort of self-preservation. When you burn your hand on the stove, you don't debate whether the hand is worthy of cool water, because it's your hand. You rush over and soothe it under cold water. In this way of looking at the world, everything is your hand. The unhoused person is you. What are you going to do to get out of this situation? The depraved politician that gave up his humanity for political power is you. The farm worker is you. The sunset, the cesspool of plastic in the ocean is you. The peaceful mountain stream is you. What are you going to do? What I'm telling you is your hands, billions of them, have been on the stove the whole time. Most caring people struggle to figure out what to do. Some people make nonprofits. Some people discuss these matters to no end. But while they do that, the stench of the burning hand. Some people get really ambitious and they mandate chopping off all hands so no one's going to burn their hand. But life is not a math class. Sorry, any math teachers. Life isn't a problem to be solved. You can never make all the dark places light, and you can never make all the low places high. The hand is burning, run some cool water. So I'm talking about social action. Let's talk about the environment, for instance. We could talk about anything. Many people with a Christian worldview see humans as separate, so that's not Buddhist, and some even think that they're masters of everything else. With this view, the individual is alienated from the world, and being alienated just plain sucks. It leads people to retaliate and act out. Do people remember middle school?
Yeah.
No, so that doesn't work for me. But on the polar opposite, people react to that, and they think that they're a result of an indifferent unfolding of scientific law in humans. This is an extreme view. This is obviously infests the planet. This can also lead itself to indifference. Buddhism, aka the middle way, does not accept either of these polar views. They also do not accept eternalism or nihilism. Again, I would say UU also is best when people are comfortable with not knowing and have curiosity. I don't mean to talk down about certain worldviews. If it works, it works. But I can't wonder if this kind of dichotomy works well for the continuation of humanity, if I'm being honest. I invite you, if only for 1 hour on Sundays, to set aside your belief system and your worldviews and just listen and be curious. And you really need to for this talk, probably. You can pick your belief system back up on the way out. Sorry, there is a soapbox up here, so that was a bad signal for me. There's a story about Buddha. It's just a story. I didn't find it in any scriptures. It's not like an official story. A devoted believer asked Buddha if God was real. Buddha said no. Later, an atheist came along and asked Buddha if God was real. And Buddha said yes. The point was the clinging to the answer causes suffering, even when it's theological. Okay, the tangent's over. Let's move on to something else. So most people in the West think the environment is something separate that should be either exploited or fixed. Or, for many, exploiting it while pretending to fix it for public relations. In this line of thinking I'm presenting today, people on the planet are not separate. People do not infest the planet any more than your muscles infest your bones, or the sand infests the shore. Thinking that the planet was a separate thing led to it being okay to poison it in the first place. Alan Watts again. The ocean waves, the universe peoples. Humanity is a symptom of the universe as a whole. So this planet is an extension of you. You wouldn't put toxic chemicals on your breakfast cereal, but many look the other way when more toxic waste than water goes in your veins, the rivers. People think that Buddhism is a way of tuning out, that you sit in meditation and push away the world. But it's really tuning in to the world. So, closing thoughts. If you look up at the night sky long enough, deeply enough, you may just find you looking back. If you look into the eyes of another, you may just find you looking back. I'm sure many of you have felt this transcendence at some point. Watching a sunset, a near-death experience, who knows? So I'll leave you with a story from The Power of Myth by Joseph Campbell, which aired in the 1980s, so hopefully this will almost sound new because that's been a while. His story takes place in Hawaii, in a park along the coast of Kauai. There are impressive cliffs, buttresses that have overlooks that can drop down 2,500 feet. And when you take the trails and the roads up at the top, there's a great rush of wind, which is the trade winds as they pass through these rocky spires. And I imagine often you see rainbows in the mist. So it's just an awe-inspiring place. Like many awesome places, people periodically go there thinking of ending their lives. So now I'll quote Campbell. While a police car was on its way up early, a little road that used to go up there, and they saw just beyond the railing that keeps cars from going over a young man actually clearly about to jump and prepare himself to jump. The police car stopped. The policeman on the right jumps out to grab the boy and grabs him just as he jumped and was himself being pulled over. And, take a breath, and he would have gone over as well if the second cop hadn't just in time gotten around, grabbed him, and pulled the two of them back. So there was a long description of this. It was a marvelous thing in the newspaper at the time. And the policeman was asked, "Why didn't you let go? I mean, you would have lost your life." And you see what happened to the man. This is what's known as one-pointed meditation. Everything else in his life dropped off. His duty to his family, his duty to his job, his duty to his own career. All of his wishes and hopes for life just disappeared, and he was about to let go. And his answer was, "I couldn't let go if I had," and I'm quoting this almost word for word, If I'd let that young man go, I could not have lived another day of my life. How come? Schopenhauer's answer is, this is the breakthrough of a metaphysical realization that you and the other are one. End quote. This is the experience of inner being. I can talk for a lifetime, but if you haven't experienced it to some level, I may never be able to explain it. But just maybe I have planted a seed or watered that seed a little bit. So when you realize, when you experience this experience of being in unity, you recognize it. Police officers tend to take themselves pretty seriously. So I hope that your experience of unity is a little less scary. The way you live and treat others will never be the same. The roller coaster of life may seem like a comedy or a tragedy at times. Some people do like Shakespeare over like Chevy Chase. But we're always in it together. We always have been. And so that's my talk.
Thank you, Ryan. Totally thought-provoking. I have to go get a cup of coffee now, so I can untangle all of those different thoughts. It did not make me sleep. Don't think that's caffeine that I need. It was just like, oh, here. All right. So please rise in body and spirit and sing hymn number 1031 in the Teal Book, Filled with Loving Kindness. That's beautiful. I love that song. In our tradition, congregations exist because of the generous support of members of friends. It is our privilege and our responsibility to ensure the health and future of this fellowship. There are several ways you can give. You can drop your donation in the baskets that are going to be passed around by the greeters. For those at home, you can mail checks to the office, drop them in our mailbox, or call the office to make other arrangements. We're also equipped to accept donations through the Venmo app. Payments through this app should be made through UUFCC offering. Your generosity is always appreciated. If you are with us for the very first time, please do not feel obligated to give. Your presence is our gift. Thank you. So before I start, I wanted to let Ryan S. know that I was pretty jazzed up when I started here. You could hear it in my voice, and I think his talk really calmed me down, so thank you for that. But you're right. Put a microphone in front of me, I change. Yes. Now it's time to highlight UUFCC special events and activities. Please remember to check your UUFCC updates, which includes the calendars and links for connecting via Zoom or in person and descriptions of all kinds of fun things coming up. Also make sure that you regularly visit our constantly updated website. If you notice on the back of your order of service, there's this week events, and I'm just going to add a couple more to that, as well as Laura will be as well. So today I have kind of the following announcements, and then remember everything's in the back of that, but I'm jumping forward what I saw on the Friday newsletter that came out to everybody. Save the date, movie and discussion on Saturday, November 11th at 3 p.m., and that is a documentary, Seeking Asylum. Right, so that's from 3 to 5 p.m., and it's located here. I think it will be a really, really good movie. Volunteer opportunity, be a reading buddy. That was also in the Friday announcement, but I think it's important enough to highlight that as well. There is nothing more fulfilling than to read to people who may not be able to read or are learning to read or just need that comforting. If you've ever sat and read to somebody who was sick or ill, you know, that would just calm them down, made them feel better. Then there is Snacks for Sunday Morning, which I'm putting that in there because although I'm going to talk about it later on, I just got to say the people who bring the snacks are just awesome, and there's a sign-up sheet. I give you a challenge to come in with something really crazy and new for everybody to try. And with that, I'm going to have Linda A. come up. She has a couple of special announcements. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to call you Laura. You're Linda.
It happens.
They call me Shelby, Sheila, Shelley, Michelle. Hi, you.
I was negligent and did not get it into the weekly update, but our NAACP unit will be having our general membership meeting on Thursday. It will be at the First Macedonia Baptist Church at 411 Charlotte Avenue in Punta Gorda, and that will be from 6 to 8 p.m. Also on November 1st at 9 a.m., the Punta Gorda City Council will decide to remove the board at Cooper Street and replace them with a nonprofit. We're asking people to attend that meeting, and you should see more information in the bulletin if I get it in there this week. Thank you.
Thank you. And also remember that the PFLAG Port Charlotte is having a membership drive still for the entire month, and you can sign up for that. The membership is $30, which may be paid in $5 payments. $15 of this goes to our local chapter, and $15 supports the national arm of the PFLAG organization. Also, I did notice that there's a cup outside near the snacks that says mulch. Right. If you have a few cents left over, I think they could use some mulch.
Mulch appreciated.
Yeah, or bring mulch with you. Yeah, it's true. It's true. Everybody bring a handful. We can make quite a deal out of that. And I'm not sure if you're better off giving money. Saying choose your own color. Can you imagine how many colors of mulch you could have in the front yard? All right, closing words. If we know anything, this is by Krishna Das. Did I say that correctly?
Lunch bunch is at Perkins today.
Oh, and he even wrote it on the top. So we're having lunch at Perkins after this service. Hope some of you will be able to join. All right, by Krishna Das. If we know anything about a path at all, it's only because of the great ones that have gone before us. Out of their love and kindness, they have left some footprints for us to follow. So in the same way that they wish for us, we wish that all beings everywhere, including ourselves, be happy, be safe, have good health, and enough to eat. And may we all live at the ease of heart with whatever comes to us in life. Now we will extinguish the chalice, but not the light of hope, the fire of commitment, or the warmth of community. Please join me in repeating the words from the order of service for extinguishing the chalice. We extinguish this chalice, but not the light of hope, the fire of commitment, or the warmth of community. May those ideals shine in our lives and warm our hearts until we are together again. Now go in peace. Please enjoy the patio for social time. Coffee will be available by our weekly volunteers. Of course, you can always sign up for that. Everybody appreciates that. There's some pretty good food out there today, I think I saw. And smartly, somebody put cellophane wrap over it, so we couldn't get it before the service. I'm sorry, Sharon. It's the way I talk. I will try to do better. All right, so let's join me in body and spirit to sing hymn 184 in the great hymnal, Be Ye Lamps Unto Yourself. It is a song that none of us have sung much, so other than Wednesday night, so enjoy the learning experience.
As
song. So please go ahead and put your phones out of meditation mode now. And thank you. Go now in peace.